Traveling from Los Angeles to Las Vegas is a family tradition. My father would pack my sister, my mother, and I into the family car, and he would drive us from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Traditionally, we would stop at Barstow and Baker. There's another stop before Barstow and before Baker. I said these out of order. The first stop we would make is at the El Cajon Pass. There's a Chevron gas station and a McDonald's. That would be our first stop. Thereafter, we would stop at Barstow and then Baker and make our way in. This was our tradition. These days, I still stop at the El Cajon Pass to gas up at the Chevron and maybe get a bite to eat at the McDonald's. And then I continue on to Barstow. Sometimes I stop at Barstow, but not. I'm hearing. Sounds like gunfire, but then it could be fireworks. It's 9:41 p.m. in Los Angeles on October 14th, Thursday. I was leaving Las Vegas. I was driving. I have a 2017 Toyota Prius. It's an electric vehicle, one that you plug in. It gets 25 miles when the battery is fully charged. That's 25 miles on electricity. So for 25 miles, I will feel as if I am driving a Tesla. And then after that, I'm back to using my gas. I like to charge up the car. I like to drive on electricity, but it's not always easy to find a charging station. I was driving from Las Vegas en route to Los Angeles when I was approaching the city of Barstow and the Barstow exit. Usually, it's definitely a familiar sight, and I would say usually we stop in Barstow, but on this trip I decided that I would keep going. Barstow is one of those stops that I'm very familiar with because as a child, my father would stop at Barstow on the way to Vegas. Sometimes he would stop on the way back to Los Angeles. Well, on this day, this was yesterday, as I was approaching Barstow, I noticed that at the outlets, the shopping outlets where there are numerous stores, which is certainly an appealing aspect of stopping in Barstow because you can get some good deals on some merchandise. I noticed the advertisements on the signs were very appealing. You see, as I was driving down the road, I looked over to my left because I was headed south, or from Las Vegas, I was headed back to Los Angeles. So the Barstow outlet signs were on my left. I noticed two signs in succession. The first sign said EV charging station. That advertisement spoke to me directly because I have an electric vehicle. EV, electric vehicle. It said, this advertisement basically said, if you have an electric vehicle, you can stop in Barstow and charge your vehicle. So that was pretty cool. It's just a matter of electric vehicles becoming more popular. That's why that sign was there. And that's pretty much it. But I saw that sign as I was driving. It's not that sign that only captured my attention, but it was the sign that I saw immediately thereafter. So as I was driving, I was doing about 80. I don't think 80 miles per hour is legal. I was speeding. There were no police around. And the other cars were driving at or about 80. You ever wonder why, even if you're doing what you think is a high speed, when you're traveling at what you think is a high speed, there's always someone who wants you to drive faster? Someone is always pulling up behind you like, hey, can't you go any faster? Like, I'm breaking the law as it already is. You really want me to do 90 or 100? Heck, if you do 90, they probably want you to do 100. You do 100, and they probably want you to do 110. Anyhow, excuse me. I'm driving down the 15, and I look over to the left, and I see EV charging station, and I say, I'm happy, because now I know that I can stop in Barstow, and I can charge my car, and maybe I can get a few miles in. Now, stopping in Barstow really isn't ideal, because of course, if you stop there, it takes 2 hours to charge, to fully charge the battery in order to get 2 hours, in order to get 25 miles. That being the case, well, who wants to waste 2 hours charging a vehicle just to get 25 miles? Not me, especially when it's going to take me about 2 hours to get home, right? From Vegas. It's supposed to take like 3 hours to get from, 3.5 hours to get from Las Vegas to LA. It never takes me 3 hours. It takes me always 4 hours. Maybe it takes me more than 4 hours, closer to 5 hours. That's partly because I stop. I have restroom breaks in Barstow, in Baker, at the El Cajon Pass. Anyhow, I saw that sign. It said EV charging station, and I said, wow, that sign is just for me. Of course, it wasn't just for me. It's for anyone with an electric vehicle. But immediately thereafter, there was another sign that was advertising Michael Kors shoes. And those shoes had been discounted from $400 to a whopping $109. Now imagine that. I saw two signs, literally I saw two signs, advertisements in succession. I saw first, boom, EV charging station. After about 5 seconds or so, I'm guessing, I have no idea how long it actually was. The next advertisement, I did not look away. It was the next advertisement as I was driving straight ahead, admiring the EV charging station sign. The next sign immediately thereafter said, Michael Kors shoes for discounted from $400 some to $109. I could clearly see in big, bold letters 109, or rather $109. So I thought, that speaks directly to me. I have an electric vehicle. I could pull over and charge my car. And the number 109, that fits me. Not the Michael Kors shoes. I don't know what style Michael Kors has, or what. I think it's actually a woman's brand. I don't think they do men's shoes or clothing. I could be wrong, but I've never thought about buying anything Michael Kors has made. But I saw EV, and then I saw 109, and I thought, man, there it is again. That's it. That's all I got.